So if you want to start with some IoT projects for beginners, I'm going to share with you my top 3 ESP32 smart home IoT projects. You're going to find the details of these projects under my blog, which is diytechrush.com/blog. For example, here we have the first one, which is a voice-controlled smart lamp using Alexa. Turn on the light. And
Okay.
yeah, the light turns on. Alexa, turn off the light.
Turn on.
So to create this project, you're going to need a few things like the Echo Dot. So here's we have the Amazon Echo Dot 5th generation. We're going to connect our ESP32 board or an ESP8266 to the computer. Then we're going to control the light using the relay module. So this light works with 12 volts. But we could use the relay module to control a device that works with a high voltage, like 220 volts. You could download the project files, including the sketch as well as the circuit schematics for an ESP32 or an ESP8266. For me, I'm using an ESP8266. We're going to connect the ground to the ground, the VCC to the 5 volts or the VN, which power up the relay module to control its signal pin using the pin D1. And on the other side, we're going to connect the high voltage device, which could be a lamp. We're going to connect the negative lead directly to the high voltage, and the positive lead is going to be controlled using these wires. We can control it from our ESP8266 or the ESP32, it doesn't matter. For me, I have connected all of the components, including the ESP8266, the relay module, and the light with the high voltage. Now we can move on to the code. On top, they are including the Wi-Fi library, whether for an ESP32 or an ESP8266. This code is going to work for both. Next, we have the ESP Alexa library. You have to install this from the library manager. Just search for its name, ESP Alexa. Here it is, by Christian. I've already installed it. And once you do that, you have to put your SID, which is the network name, and the password. Next, we have the relay pin. I have used the digital pin D1, but if you are using the ESP32, you will have to use the pin number 16 and replace it from here. Next, we have the lamp control method, which is going to be called once we make a voice command, and it takes in the brightness. So we could use it to adjust the brightness of the device. Here we are checking if it's 255. We are changing this boolean to true, and that's going to turn on the lamp. And if it's 0, it's going to turn it off using the digital write command. You could call it whatever you want. For example, I'm going to call it green light. And all of the work is done by the ESP Alexa library. Make sure to select the right board from here. Once it's done, we have to set up this device from the Alexa app, or you could simply tell it to do that. Alexa, discover devices.
Starting discovery. This will take a few moments. Power on your new devices now, and if needed, put them in pairing mode.
I found green light, and you can control it by saying, turn off green light.
Yeah, that's right. Let's try it. Alexa, turn on the green light.
Okay.
And yeah, the green light turns on. Alexa, turn the green light off.
Okay.
Yeah, we can tell it to turn it on for 5 seconds. Alexa, turn on the green light for 5 seconds.
Okay, I'll turn on the green light for 5 seconds.
Second, we can use some servo motors to control our light switch using these servos by creating a web server that we can control from a smartphone or a computer. Because our microcontroller comes with Wi-Fi capability that we can use to control some devices wirelessly, you're gonna need a servo motor like this one. It is called SG90. Basically, we could control it using our microcontroller and move the arm to a specific angle or a specific position, which makes it so useful for some projects. This one is the smallest servo motor that we can use to change its angle between 0 and 170 degrees. There are other servos that are bigger.
People with less experience are getting hired over you. Here's why.
And we don't have to bring an external power supply. I'm going to use the 3.3 volts of the microcontroller. So each servo has 3 wires. The first one is the ground. We're going to hook it up to the GND of the board. The middle wire is the VCC, which is red, and that's going to power up our servo. But to control it, we have to connect the last wire to one of the digital pins, like the digital pin D4. So I'm going to connect it like this. As you can see, the ground is connected to the GND, the VCC to the 3 volts, and the last wire is connected to the pin D4. Then we can connect our microcontroller to the computer so that we can control the arm position. Luckily, we can control these servo motors using a library which is built in. We're going to control the angle of this servo motor. So if we change it to 0, we're going to press this light switch. Our microcontroller will be connected to a router or an access point using the name and the password. Then we could use all of the devices to control it through Wi-Fi. First, I'm going to change the SID, which is the name of the network. That is called our network. And I'm going to write my password. First of all, I want to add a link so that we can change the angle of the servo motor under this HTML page. Let's add it on top using the A tag. And let's write a simple text like switch on. Whenever we click on this text, we have to go to a link like /turn on, and that's called a route. We have to set it in here using the href attribute equals, and in these single quotes, we can write the link /on as an example. Last but not least, we have to set a route to tell our server what to do if we go to this link. And the way we do that is by calling this method server.on. Let's write it under here. It takes two parameters. The first one is the link /on that we have set, and the lines of code that we're going to call each time we go to this link. You could create a function that will change the angle of the servo and write it under here, or we can write the code using this notation, and don't forget to add the semicolon at the end. Now we can use our servo library to control the servo and change its angle under here. Let's go on top and include the library using #include, which is the servo library. Next, I'm going to add the object servo and call it switch servo. To set the pin, we have to go under the setup function and add switch servo dot attach, and let's pass in the value 2. By default, the angle is going to be 90 degrees using switch servo dot right, and whenever we click on the link, switch servo dot right, and change the angle to 0 so that we can turn on the lights. Then I will wait for 1 second using the delay function. And finally, we have to change it to the first position, which is 90 degrees, using switch servo.right. Upload this code and write this name, ESP8266. But first, you have to be connected to the same network. We can open up Google Chrome and write ESP8266.local. You could upgrade this web page and add few buttons, one to turn the lights on and another one to turn it off. So let's press this link, and there you go, the lights is on. I've already added two servos, one to turn the lights on and another one to turn it off. And finally, we can keep track of our home temperature and the humidity using ThingSpeak, which allows you to monitor your house and upload some data that you can access from anywhere in this world. So I have bought this new ESP32 board that comes with the USB Type-C port. Now we can use it. Also, you're going to need the DHT sensor or any sensor that you want. For example, you could use the gas sensor. This version comes with some labels. We have the ground, the VCC, and the data that we can connect it to one of the pins so that we can read the temperature and the humidity. We can move on to the computer. First of all, we have to get started using the button, and here we have to pass in our email. So we need to create an account using the button create one. I'm going to use my own email. For the location, I'm in Tunisia. My first name is Shaker and the last name. Then we can hit continue and continue again. Here we have this error. We need to verify the account from the email messages. And once you verify the email, we can continue. Finally, we can set our password with these requirements. Accept and hit continue. And now we are able to sign in to this account so that we can use the API. I'm gonna select one of these options. So we're using this for non-commercial projects and hit OK. First of all, we have to create a new channel. So it's like a new project in Google Firebase. I'm gonna create a new one. We can give it a name like ESP32 monitoring. You could set a description, but it's not needed. Under this channel, we are going to save two variables or two values. So these are called fields. The first one is going to be the temperature. I'm going to call it temp. And the second one is the humidity. Let's call it humidity. And you could add up to 8 fields. And I think that's pretty much it. we can save the channel. And this is one of the advantages of ThingSpeak. It's going to create these charts so that we can see the values of the temperature and the humidity. Now, to be able to use this API, we have to get the API key, which allows you to use this service. To do that, we go under API keys. We have two different options for writing or reading data. In our case, we are going to write some data, which are the temperature and the humidity readings. So I will copy this API key. You're going to find the circuit schematics and the code for our project from the link under the video description. Then we can open up the Arduino IDE. On top, we have all of the libraries that we need, like the Wi-Fi library. This is used for the ESP32 connection. We have HTTP client to send the request to this service and get the data, or we are going to update the data, which are the temperature and the humidity values. To do that, we use these URLs, like this one, to write the data. We add and the field name, in our case temp and humidity, equals the value. We're going to see all of this in the code. We also need the DHT library so that we can use the DHT sensor. Next, we have few variables, like the network credentials. Our ESP32 needs to be connected to the internet using the SID and the password of the network that you have. We have the server name, which is the URL. You only have to replace the API key from here. So I'm gonna paste it. The next variables are related to the DHT sensor, like the pin that we have used, the sensor type, which is DHT11. If you have the DHT22, make sure to change it from here. And under the loop, we're waiting for 10 seconds. Then we are checking if we are connected. In such case, we can read the temperature and store it inside this temperature variable using DHT.readTemperature. To get the humidity, we use DHT.readHumidity. Here we are checking if we have read the values successfully. We send the HTTP GET request by using the HTTP.GET method, and it returns an integer. If it's greater than 0, that means we have successfully sent the request. In such case, we can print the result. Actually, we have a response like it's okay, but if you are using this service to read data, you're gonna get it from here. And finally, we can hit our upload button. Yep, it is connected, and this is the IP address. And there you go, we have these two charts to see the temperature and the humidity readings. Let's try to change the values. For example, I'm going to change the temperature.
A few moments later.
And yeah, it is increasing. Now we have 25 Celsius. So I think that's pretty much it, guys, for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any question or comment, make sure to write it under the comment section down below. And I will see you in the next one.